You are watching MZ Media UK.
লিডস বাংলা প্রেস ক্লাব ও বাংলাদেশ সেন্টারের উদ্যোগে গতকাল হেয়ার হিলস, গিফটন ও চ্যাপেল টাউন সহ আশেপাশের স্থানীয় কাউন্সিলর ও কমিউনিটি নেতৃবৃন্দকে নিয়ে লিডসের নানা অপরাধমূলক কর্মকাণ্ড রুখতে করণীয় শীর্ষক এক গোলটেবিল আলোচনা অনুষ্ঠিত হয়।
I'd like to focus on just very briefly the reason for this meeting. That, as you know, antisocial behavior and criminal activity in Harris, Gipton, Chapel Town, Richmond Hill, and Vermontoft, and different parts of the city has risen recently. We have seen numerous media reports and heard personal experiences of individuals. And very recently, the Vice President of our Leeds Bangla Press Club and the Leeds correspondent of Cllr television, Mahmud Azhar, has been an unfortunate victim of criminal gang. Inshallah, we will listen his experience from his own mouth, inshallah. So, the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss these issues with our local councillors and community leaders to create awareness to make our surrounding areas.
And they have said it's very short notice as well, because obviously we only arranged it. So I would like to open the meeting by saying I'm deeply shocked and saddened by what's happening in the local area in terms of crime that has increased in the local area, especially in Gipton and Harris and Birmingham. But I'd like to focus on Mohammed Zakaria. What happened to Mohammed Zakaria on, not him, but his car was vandalized. He was badly vandalized by gang of youths on early hours of Saturday morning. There has been a media report for the Channel S.
What happened to Zakaria is just a one-off thing. Basically, this has been ongoing for several years and nothing's been done about it at the moment. At the moment, there are so many crimes that are happening which are being unseen for or unheard of. Even if you report it, nothing's been done with it. Recently, I can go into 3 crimes at the moment in the last month. A week ago, outside my house, a young lad was beaten almost to death at the moment. If you go to Haji Lane, you see shops are open till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Some shops are open till 24 hours, easy access to get alcohol and everything. I want to ask my councillors, what are you doing about these things? It's very easy access. Go knock on the council door, apply for a 24-hour license. They're giving it straight away. Why? It's the council, they need it. They're the needy ones, they need the money. That's why they're giving everything. And everywhere nowadays you go, it's all cordoned off. You hear crime here, crime there, crime there. Especially in our area, to this day, again, I'm going back to my councillors again. You've been here long enough to know all this. You are seeing all these crimes, you are related to all these crimes. But to this day, we don't even see any CCTV cameras. Going to Back Alleyway, Abu Bakr, there's drug peddling there. 9-year-old, 10-year-olds, they're doing drug peddling down there. There's hardly any CCTV. You look into it, you report it, then you become a target for them. Then they come in, they smash your car, they smash your house, or they find you in the streets, they beat you up.
We are back to 90s again. In 90s, council takes some nice action against those muggers and those antisocial behaviors. They're doing some changing policy of the tenancy and all this. Where I live on that time, I can't go out of my front door because there were the antisocial behaviors on my street with the bikes and everything, so I have to use my back door. Then the council came, as I said, now I'm asking all the councillors who were here, I don't know who is responsible for the police. We need more police in Harris and Gipton and Chapel Town. We represent Shaheen Moshfique, and now it's Tarawih and now Ramadan. We don't hardly see any police officer surrounding there because sometimes from the mosque, kids go to the mosque and they wear some expensive trainers. They nick from them. So I would ask the councillors, I know the election is coming soon, what happened after, it doesn't matter. Can I request all the councillors?
Policing. We've been asking for community policing for years. We've been talking about the drug dealing on Hilltop Mount for the last few years. There's been councillors, Labour councillors that have been on the email chains for the last couple of years. When I got involved, they said if he's involved, we're not going to get involved. Okay, so this is the kind of situation that we've been in. You know, we've had lockdown, we've had councillors going to lockdown parties, during that time. We've had councillors, Labour councillors from Roundhay Ward writing references for drug dealers to be let off early. Okay? When our elected officials are in cahoots with the criminals, how are we going to move forward? You see? So we've had all this criminal, we've had alcohol licenses being granted over and over again. We're having you know, the cash converters and the cash shops opening up over and over again. You don't find these in rich areas. Yeah, you don't find these in prospering areas. You find these in the areas that are supposed to, you know, the councils are deliberately mismanaging in this area.
Worrying sense that why is gang in Leeds? We never heard of it. We never seen gang in Leeds actually. Yeah? We've been living here for about 14 years, but what is this gangs coming from? Which are the people are involved, and etc. etc. So that's one thing I'd like to find out from our councillors, and probably from the community leaders as well. What sort of things happening here. Secondly, I would say I would request the councillors and the PBA and chairs of Bangladeshi Centre that
regarding the incident of Jackery, same morning I have my wife's car. In the morning when I got out from my house, my car was smashed. All my other cars were all fine, all the neighbours, everything. The reason I'm here, I'm not here just to show myself that my car happened. These things happen all the time. The reason I'm just trying to say is, I tried to ring the police. The police didn't answer the phone. It goes to voice machine, even non-emergency. 999 I rang, but they said it's not emergency. Go back to non-emergency. So I rang the other number, left a voice message. Even I actually send the messages. So just to get a log number. So nothing's happened. The reason I'm actually want to just, I know everybody highlights about the crime. We all know what other crimes are. We know what's happening in the area. Manchester, Birmingham, all over the country. We have programs in the centre. The councillors provide, get the funding. The youth, why the youths are doing, we all know that problem. We're all not stupid here. Because the reason is, every time we go, drugs are involved, everything's involved. The parents know, the family know. But there was a time, 20 years, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we all had neighbour watch. Nowadays, I look at the window, I ignore if somebody's getting beaten up. Everybody else is, this is what's happening now. Nobody wants to know nothing, nobody wants to ask anything. This is what's happening. With our councillors, what I'm trying to say, I'm not highlighting, everywhere we go now, when the election comes, we'll do that, we'll do that. After election goes, nothing's happening.
So, the council, mostly Leeds Council, led by Labour councils. And we have Labour councillors. And we support Labour all the way, especially in Leeds from the beginning. So we hope you will take good action to reduce this crime, especially in Leeds. And you can give us some ideas how we can help you or help the community, as community leaders, how can help the community to reduce this crime. As well as we need some assurance probably from the councillors that we will be safe and our future generation, our children will be safe in Leeds Street when they are walking in Leeds Street. Because now everybody is worried what's happening. Anything can happen. And what I can say all about, because when I see the picture of all Britain, I think the governments need to be changed. Something needs to be changed in top level. And the policing needs to be stronger. Police don't care about what's happening in this area. They don't want to spend their money or fund in these local problems, what's happening. So I think they need more funding as well. So I'll request my councillors, you can pass our message and you can do your bits to work as long as you can. Thank you very much.
Right, Kai, sorry. Haji,
Moshfique Uddin, and he has passed his message that he needs to walk very quickly. So that's why I would request Moshfique Uddin to give your thoughts or opinions. Obviously, you live in a very safe place.
of the issue. And nowadays, every 100,000 population is about 14,000, the number of crimes. So anyway, so there are lots of statistics which definitely will prove that we are going through some bad times. Now we do have reasons to explain these things. Of course, the economic turmoil, the very minimum amount of allocation of money throughout the budgets to uphold the security things and all these things. Now, these are happening quite for some time. But my request to all these respected politicians who are obviously the local, you are the local guardians of the community, so that you can pass on these messages that we need some proper sort of shelter from, to save ourselves from these. Say, for example, my brother was saying about the CCTV cameras. UK is one of the top, the countries within the whole world in terms of the use of the CCTV cameras. But the irony is, the CCTV cameras, you can see the existence of those where you can extract the revenues. But where you need to spend those monies, you don't see any CCTVs in there, because if you produce the evidences through the CCTV cameras, then you have to spend money within that community. So you don't have those things. So I think that you have to bargain with the top people so that they allocate sufficient amount of money. The police presence, they need money. So it's not that we do not have to be. It's not an emotional matter that okay we are suffering and you bring some. It's not like that. We need to put some force to those people who are at the decision-making level, and you are the right people who can tell all these stories and send those messages to them. We actually need attention. We actually need more allocations, and hopefully that will probably help to solve the problem. Thank you very much.
There has been a number of crimes which is concerning your family people, you're worried about your children. Zakaria, what happened to you is absolutely awful, and I'm so sorry you had to go through that. What I would do personally is take up your case with an inspector to make sure we find out what has happened, and make sure that you get the justice you need. Coming back to the point of the crime that has been rising, not just here in Leeds, in West Yorkshire, across the country. Brother, you very nicely articulated, you pick up the newspaper and you see what happens in London and Birmingham. That's still not an excuse. We as your councillors, as your representatives, need to make sure we do everything that is in our power to make sure we reduce the crime in the area. How are we going to do that? Crime does fall under the police, but we work alongside the police. It is a shame the police are not here today. They should have been here. But however, it was a short notice. This meeting does not end here. We can have a bigger meeting. We'll make sure not only the police sergeant is here, we can make sure that the inspector in charge of this area is listening to you. They have to listen to you, because we will tell them what you are telling, but they have to listen so they understand that actually we need to get some bodies on the streets of Shepherd Lane and Hillcrest here, because that's what the community is telling us. So we will go away and make sure we have a separate meeting. We will come back here, we'll bring the police here, and you raise those questions. We had a meeting about a month ago at Compton Centre. A couple of people were at that meeting. We had, because of the murders that happened, the police have assured us, as councillors and as the residents, some things we can't tell you because there are secrecy around it.
I think it's good to Mr. Imran in the head as well. The last 3 months, to be honest with you, right, myself and my colleagues have a meeting with the police, inspectors, and also chief inspectors in Compton Centre. A number of the issues, and we cannot share what's going on, what we made the plans for the future, because we've been told keep it secret at the moment. Some of the things, as elected members, we do have responsibility around, we cannot share with the public before the times. We've been working with the councils, Anowar. Shaheen, you are working as well. I said you've been working with the council as well. Some of the things are, started the plan, but we cannot share it with the public. But I can tell you now, 2 months ago, myself and my colleagues, Councillor Salma, have a meeting with inspectors, sergeants, and we discuss all the issues. All the issues are happening. It's not, I'm not going to deny that it's not happening in Hackles, right, or in Leeds, right. They are happening, it's no doubt. But I think we needed to look at the last 13 years, what is happening to the Leeds city council budget as well. So we cannot take every single blame as elected member of each ward, right? Well, some of the responsibility the central government have to deliver to each local authority. We're not going to say this only to the Leeds, every single local authority to across the country, right? And if you go to the Google it, to the website of the government or Leeds City Council website, how much is the budget being put off since 2010? And that's including the police as well. So obviously when this is a less number of the police, it's no doubt. It's never. I think that's a very clear picture. It's not just only for the Leeds or this country, everywhere in the world, the crimes go up. Right? So, yes, I can understand, Ali, you've been raised a number of the good questions, no doubt. Well, to be honest with you, more than happy, as you know that I've never ever made in my 16 years any false promise to anybody. Never ever. Right, doesn't matter if it's my elections, yes or not, or after my elections. More than happy to work with the community, been working it the last 16 years, more than happy to carry on, right, to work it. But one of the things is, to be honest with you, right, when we're talking about it in here, it's not a good message for the Leeds or for the Harehill. And I think one thing is we do need to realise, please come to the elected member first.
Councillors to resolve issues. And one of the issues is actually, if you see a crime, report it. Don't think it's the council or the community, somebody else will do it. If you don't report it, you're not going to get resources in your area. That's how police resources are. We can speak to the police all day, but unless they get reports of crime, whether it's somebody you think somebody's suspected of drug dealing, or doing something wrong, or antisocial behaviour, there's a group of lads, something not right, then report it. If there's emergency, then you've got the number, my Councillor Khan said. If non-emergency, then there's a number 101. You may not hear anything, but that's how the police resources are targeted. It goes without saying, I don't agree with it, it's been said that there's 20,000 less police officers in our streets than there were in 2010. There's less PCSOs, even though there's more in some wards than others. So the inner city wards like Harehill and Gibson and Birmingham, Richmond, and part of my ward, when I say part of my ward, in Chapeldown there's more than in Chapel Allerton. That's because they are targeted where actually the need is great, is how police actually, that's operational. You see, we don't have a direct say on that, but we can work with them. Very importantly, that's one thing, you've got to attend, community meetings is one thing, whether it's Chapel Allerton, if you live in Chapeltown, then do come to ours. But if you're living in inner east, then go to, but the PAC meetings, if it's a policing issue, the PAC meetings are very, very important, because the police are yelling at us, they're actually begging for people to attend, because unless you attend and report it. The other thing I think I want to touch particularly on fly tipping and litter. Councillor Hussein's quite right. I'm actually a cabinet lead for environmental services, which includes refuse collection and fly tipping and cleaning rivers. And there's actually more resource going into citywide in Harehill than anybody else. We've got more enforcement officers, but the problem is we have a responsibility, all of us, to deal with the litter. If I see a litter on outside my house, I pick it up and put it in the bin. We have an organisation called Litter Free Leeds, volunteers. They work throughout Leeds, and we don't get. How many of us actually go out, and honestly, hand on heart, actually just outside our house pick a litter or do any volunteering around, litter picking or something? There'll be very few. But there are people. If you see people say to me, well, I go to Morton, I go to Old Woodley, I go to Roundhay, I don't see any litter. But believe me, there's actually less people doing work in that area than there are in the city of Leeds. The difference is, A, there's less litter in the first place, people don't throw it. B, the people who are in that area, they'll pick you up or they are volunteers. So,
the colleague asked about police statistics. So the statistics are all available on the West Yorkshire Police website. They're also available at the community committee meetings that happen 4 times a year. I would also invite you to join our PACS meetings, Police and Communities Together meeting, which are meetings organised by the police in the localities. And these are opportunities for people from communities to join, to come to the police, share any issues that they may have, receive an update direct from the police. I know in Birmingham and Richmond Hill our next meeting will be on Wednesday at the Lower Mount Community Centre. So anybody living in Birmingham is welcome to join. Quite a lot of the time it can be very frustrating dealing with the police because what they do is they work on an information basis. So when you report crime in, it doesn't necessarily get dealt with straight away. It ties into wider operations which lead to, such as what Councillor Salma referred to, the operations that are taking place at the moment, tackling drugs in the area. I can see the chair was like to wrap up my comments, that's fine. But yeah, it is, one of the things that I did, as I was only elected last year, one of the things that I've done is I've taken time out with the police, I've joined them on patrol to see some of the challenges that they face on an evening driving around airports. And it's tough, it's really tough. And when you actually see what they're confronted with in terms of sort of nuisance, sort of drinking and whatnot, and then the more serious crimes, there's a lot going off that people don't necessarily recognise because it's not happening right in front of you. So I'll bring my comments to a close there, but just to echo what Councillor Khan said, as an Inner East Community Committee, myself, Councillor Khan, Councillor Arif, and Councillor Hussain have spent a lot of money in terms of diversionary activities, trying to get kids off the streets, trying to pull people away from criminal activities, from criminal gangs, especially young people. And there is some fantastic work taking place across the community. Pop down to the Noel Mount Community Centre, we've got Junior Sports Hub that's operating in the area. We've got a load of activities that are there to try and prevent young people getting involved in crime in the first place. But if I only leave you with one comment, it would be, please come along to community committee meetings to see the decisions that are being made, to see the discussions that are happening. It's not just at election time, it is all year round, and I would really encourage you to join us and to come along to police and communities together meetings that take place throughout the year. Thank you.
The simple truth of the matter is this, is when it comes to resource, when it comes to having police presence, the community that shouts the loudest gets the resource. Why don't we have these issues round here? Because I tell you what, there's one fridge there, everyone's on the phone to the police, everyone's on the phone to the local authority, everyone's on the phone to the councillor. So if we don't engage, and I'm also tired of going to strategic meetings where our communities are not represented. So we also have a role to play as community members. Every Monday morning at Ellen Road Police Station, somebody like an assistant chief constable will say, right, why is there a 20% increase in crime in this area? Simple, they will hold them to account. We also have a responsibility. And I've been to lots of meetings where this is going on, this is going on. How much has that been reported to the police? We haven't. So that's our responsibility. The second thing I was just going to quickly say is, as parents, yes, the local authority have got a role to play, the police have got a role to play, the councillors have got a role to play. I was at Ellen Road Police Station last week and a woman was screaming in the car park because her son had been stopped for carrying a knife and he was in custody for many hours. And if we want more police in this area, as parents, we've got to say, what's our responsibility here? Because I tell you what, these councils also get calls when our children are stopped and locked up for carrying a knife. And today, just today, we have a Section 60 on. And that Section 60 is one of the reasons why some of the officers are probably not here, because they can stop and search anybody, based on intelligence, based on threats, based on what's happened over the past 24 hours. The one thing I just will leave you with is as simple as this: either we give our young people something good to do, or the bad people will. And I just, the point you were making back 10, 12 years ago, when we used to walk out, kids used to tell us to jump up and down so they could see if we had change in our pockets. Yeah. Remember that, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what changed things? Is communities like this coming together. Yeah. So please, let's give our children responsible things to do, activities to do, get them involved here, get them involved at catch. That's how we're going to turn this around. Yeah. Because the people doing these burglaries and committing these crimes are from our community. Yeah.
Thank you.
Your brother is on attack all of us actually in this community. And as the leaders, we should be taking forward and making sure we need to get your answers on your behalf. And it's lovely to see Councillor from Gifton Health, Councillor Arif Hussain and Councillor Salma and our candidate Asghar and our Councillor Rofique from Chapel Alderton, my two other colleagues, Councillor Luke and the Nkele candidate for this year. Yes, brother, you asked some valuable question, that we need to answer. Yes, we do get statistics, we do get the data on a regular basis, and from that data we have a discussion called a tasking meeting, where all partners come together and we talk about those issues, street by street. And then once we have spoken at the tasking meeting, it goes to where Councillor Arif said, it goes to your committee meeting, where it's open to all of you, and you can attend those meetings and you can ask those questions. At the beginning of that task, the committee meetings, there's 10 minutes open forum. Any issue you've got in the communities, you can go and you can raise those issues and they will be answered those issues. I'm going to be very, very brief because I'm conscious of time. You want to know what's the next steps, what action can we do, how can we resolve? Because the majority of people are from Gipton Hills, that's why the council took a lot of time. We represent border of Hills onto Bournemouth. And we do have issues, same issues, like you have in Gipton Hills, like other parts of Leeds, West Leeds, South Leeds, they have those issues as well. And we've been working very, very closely with the West Yorkshire Police and the MPT. When the brother said there's only a few numbers of PCSOs or PCs in the area, that's not true. Anybody can go in West Yorkshire website, go in the website and go in the neighbourhood and go in the teams. You'll get all the PCSOs and the PCs and the inspectors and sergeants. Alhamdulillah, Gipton has got 12 PCs and PCSOs. And then you've got sergeant and your inspector. Bermatov's got 11. So because you've got high crime, that's where you've got extra. The way you're going to increase the resources in this area is by reporting. We need to keep reporting. Even if you don't get the right outcome, the more you report, they get the data and they'll say, why are we getting more calls from this area? There must be a problem in this area. We need to get more resources in there. So it's important that we need to report. There's different ways you can report. 999 if it's an emergency. If it's not an emergency, 101 on the website, or you can do it through internet as well nowadays. Website, social media, you can do it different ways, but keep reporting, that's very, very important. I just want to finish off one thing. Around Knowles, we had about 4 years, we had the same issue what you had. The way we tackled that one was getting all different partners together, as your councillor assured you they will get all the partners together, and we managed to get young people into activities. We've got a youth violence service going in there now, working with young people about crime, the danger about crime, of knife crime. So they are working with those young people. And last week we went, there were over 40 people in that centre, enjoying, learning about different, activities and, getting away from crime. Those young people were on the streets, causing nuisance, antisocial behaviour. Another example is Eastern Park. We had a lot of problems with motorbikes. Honestly, we managed to work with police and Leeds Council Safe for Leeds. We managed to get a diesel crest, and Gipton is part of that diesel crest as well, because a lot of people go to Gipton. So diesel crest is another way that we resolve those issues. Alhamdulillah, you've got fantastic councillors here. They will work with you and you will be able to resolve. So inshallah, we will go away, we will speak to the same inspector as your Gipton councillors are, and we will ask those questions. We need more resources in this area, because this is one of the most deprived and poverty declaration area in Leeds. We need to get more investment in this area. Thank you.
I want to also declare that I'm happy that within our